Welcome everyone. Our today's topic is Geetanjali series famous novel Tomb of the Saint. Recently, it is nominated for Booker Prize. It became the first novel that is translated from Hindi to English and nominated for it. It is among the long list of 13 novels. Although it is not till this date is able to win the battle, but still it in the race. And our today's discussion is focusing on this very novel. So without wasting much time, let's jump to our topic. And as we know, we are going with the famous novel Tomb of the Sand, and this is how we are starting. Geetanjali series Tomb of the Sand, and I am Deepak, Assistant Professor, Mahatma Gandhi Central University, Bihar. And as we can see, the tomb or a sand is moving out of the glass and time is passing on. And without wasting much time, let's go to the background of the novel. The novel is more about partition literature. In case of partition, we have seen several novels, and out of them, few are popular. And you can go with Amrita Pritam's Pinjar novel. This is story of Puro and how she survived during partition and how she was abducted and later on forceful marriage, pregnancy, childbirth, and later on how she able to save her sister-in-law and send back to Pakistan to India. Although she has a choice to go back to India, but she denied and stay with the abductor, Rasid. Similarly, Train to Pakistan is set around 1947 and more about Jagga Daku's love story. How he saved his girlfriend from being die in the train class, and later he cut the rope, but in the pursuit he himself dies. And this shows even that a criminal, a daku, is having humanity in him, but not the common people. Bisam Sani Tamas, we all aware about it, and no need to define how much the trauma faced in this novel. Salman Rushdie's Midnight Children is popular in this league, and we know the novel opened in the midnight of 1947, and hero do not know from which country he belongs, either India or Pakistan. And similar way, Bapsi Sidhwa's Ice Candy Man is also in the same league, where the hero abducted heroine and kept as a captive and sold him in a prostitute's house, and later on she fled, and but he too loved her and wanted. And if you want to know more about Bapsi Sidhwa's Ice Candy Man, you can see the movie adaptation Earth 1947, that is Indian movie. And similarly, you can go with the movie adaptation of Pinjar, Train to Pakistan, Tamas, Midnight Children, and Ice Candy Man. If we go with this partition literature, then Tomb of the Sand of Geetanjali series novel in the next in this list. You can add it as an important one. And if you go its translator, see it, this novel is translated by Daisy Rockwell. You can see her picture here, Daisy Rockwell with the spectacle. She is a painter, writer, and translator living in Vermont, US. And she has translated several important Hindi and Urdu work. And in the list, you can say Upendra Nath As, Falling Walls, Bisam Sani's Tamas, Krishna Sobti, A Gujarat Here, A Gujarat There. So her focus is more about this partition and trauma studies. You can call her a trauma translator also. And her Geetanjali series, Tomb of the Sand, was first published in Hindi as Ret Samadhi, and Daisy Rockwell take chance to translate it. And now it is with us with the title Tomb of the Sand. If you go with the Tomb of Sand, it is here we are having, and the Wire, the newspaper or magazine or journal, you can say, reviewed it as rambunctious, and tone and structure came together to form an insightful and very different addition to the genre of so-called partition novel. So that is more a partition novel, but although different from that. And if you look at the plot of it, that novel follows an 80 years old woman who travels to Pakistan after the death of her husband, confronting the unresolved trauma of her teenage experience of partition and re-evaluating what it means to be a mother, daughter, woman, and feminist. That is quoted from Times of India newspaper. That is the link that we have, and that is all we have. This novel is entirely different from other genre, and if we go with this review, then the Penguin Book, who also published this novel, reviewed it as the story is about an 80-year-old woman slips into deep depression at the death of her husband, then resurfaces to gain a new lease on life. Her determination to fly in the face of convention, including striking up a friendship with a hijra, trans woman, confesses her Bohemian daughter, who is used to thinking on herself as the more modern of the two. That always happens, that children often consider themselves more modern than their parents, and same story here. To her family concentration, Ma insists on traveling to Pakistan, simultaneously confronting the unresolved trauma of her teenage experiences of partition and re-evaluating what it means to be a mother, daughter, woman, and feminist. Rather than respond to tragedy with seriousness, Geetanjali's series' playful tone with exuberant wordplay result in book that is engaging, funny, and utterly original, at the same time as being an urgent and timely protest against the destructive impact of borders and boundaries, whether between religions, country, or gender. That is a review from Penguin Publication House, and more you can find by visiting the link. What is, if we look at this novel and compare with this Amrita Pritam, Train to Pakistan, Thomas, Midnight Children, Ice Candy Man, there are more difference in this novel. First thing is that the novel has setting after independence. Although other novels are around the partition, or especially between 1947 to 1950 is their setting, but the setting of novel is more later because the heroine is already 80 years old and she faced partition in the younger age. So that is the main difference that we have. And in all other novels are defining mass migration, abduction, rape, killing, and tragedies though that happened to men and women and children during 1947. But that is not defining that, but all is happening in the mind and through the real life experience of the hero, because first she experienced herself the trauma in 1947, then she is again revisiting that trauma. And if you want to compare this novel with the trauma, then you can compare with the Punjabi movie Angrez, wherein hero to visit Pakistan and narrate his life before partition, and all the trauma of partition come back to his life, and he himself say that Ajadi fail gayi, and that another person says grandfather Ajadi फैली नहीं थी, आजादी मिली थी. Then the person say हमारे लिए तो फैली ही थी जैसे कोई बीमारी फैल जाए, and this is what he says. And then the whole of family, friends, and everything is separated from one another. That is the difference that this novel having from other novels as compared to the setting, the story, partition, migration, and so on. And if you look at the importance of this book is having value and importance in several ways. First thing that its story is totally different here. Heroine again revisiting Pakistan because she was transformed from that area. And more importantly, this novel is the first among the 13 books listed for the International Booker Prize in the year 2022. Not only this, it is the first Hindi language translated work of fiction to be shortlisted for this literary prize. And you can see that what is Booker Prize, International Booker Prize long list. For the first time, a work of fiction in Hindi is one of the 13 novels long listed from 11 languages, originated from 12 countries across 4 continents, and that you can see the original list. And even the front page or the symbol or the logo of Booker Prize is defining first time that Hindi work is selected as it is a translated work in English. So this make the novel Tom of Sand more important and valuable as compared to other works, not only due to its Hindi status, but also the difference of the theme. And you can simply say, after reading this novel, you will see partition and trauma from a new angle. And similarly, you can more compare it to Kala Pani, Black Water's story that is defining in the same sense, because heroine is defining her story from a different angle. And there are several stories which we have, but that will give you an insight of different kind, and that we have for Booker Prize. And now come to the judge's comment, because if a novel is going for Booker Prize, then judge often comment on it, and one of the judge says it is a loud and irresistible novel. Judges say it constantly shifting perspective and time frames of Geetanjali Shree's inventive, energetic tome of sand lead us to every cranny of 80 years old women's life and surpassing past. They also add Daisy Rockwell's spirited translation rises admirably the complexity of the text, which is full of wordplay and work. This quotation is taken from Times of India newspaper, and this is what we have. This novel, although this novel is till this time is only nominated for Booker Prize, it hasn't win. Time will tell whether this novel is able to get Booker Prize for the year 2022 or not. Earlier, we have Arvind Adiga's White Tiger as a Booker Prize with us. And there are several novels that we have in the list. Ruth Prawar, Jagwala's Heat and Salman Rushdie's Midnight Children, and and other several novels from Indians we have in the list. And but the novel that is defining in a new light, that is Partition. And after reading this novel, the way one read Partition definitely is going to change, and comparing this novel with others novel open a new kind of criticism and literature. And also the reviews would be beneficial for coming students of literature. Let's see whether this novel is able to get Booker or not, but still novel has gained what it deserved, a limelight, a popularity, advertisement, and so on. And now it is up to scholars whether they are taking this novel and reviewing and advertising it and taking it as a research paper or article, so that it could add new avenue to literature of Partition and of Indian literature, and as well as of Hindi literature. And with this, I will say thank you, take care, goodbye. This is what I have for today. If you like the review, then you can subscribe to this channel. Thank you.